I feel like we're told avoid stress at all costs. And that's kind of what we have going through our minds. Avoid stress, avoid stress, avoid stress. But my mind was opened to a different idea in the book, The Power of Full Engagement by Jim Loehr and Tony Schwartz. Back to the definition, to expend energy beyond normal levels, they say that that's okay as long as we balance it with rest. So they were coaches and mentors to professional athletes, like high-level athletes. And they watched over years and years and years how two tennis players who had the exact same skill level, they were putting the exact same amount of practice time in, they were doing all the same things, they were very, very well matched. To the point that if they were in a tournament against each other, they really felt like you wouldn't know who was going to win. But then one athlete would always come out ahead. And they're like, okay, there's something going on here because physically they are the same. And they watched this happen and thought, okay, there's something, there's this X factor. We've got to figure out what it is. So they started interviewing all these athletes. And what they realized was the ones who were so successful were the ones who had a program of expending that stress during the match, but then having a way to relax their brain and relax their body in between matches. So even though it was maybe 30 seconds or a minute, they could calm down their heart rate, they could talk through some of their affirmations, whatever it was they needed to do to calm down and reset, and then walk into the next match fresh. And they were the ones who were the most successful versus the others who just kind of rode that adrenaline high. They went in, their heart rate was up, and they went match to match to match to match with ever giving themselves that break. And they wore themselves out. So they learned quite a few things. In their book, they teach us that in order to be high performers, like these athletes, we must go from periods of stress, work, engagement, to a renewal and recovery period, and then back to stress again. And they use the example of our heartbeat. If you look at our heartbeat on a heartbeat monitor, it goes up and down, up and down, up and down at varying levels. But what happens when it's a straight line? We're dead. And so that constant up and down is really how nature has made us to be, just like a heartbeat. And so they teach us that energy, not time, is the fundamental currency of high performance, that we can manage our energy and be more successful. They say we live in a world that celebrates work and activity. It ignores renewal and recovery and fails to recognize that both are necessary for sustained high performance. I have found that to be so true as I've implemented this in my life, because we don't want to be stressed all the time, but we also can't live in a place where we have no stress.
So the motivation to perform induces a little bit of stress so that we actually get up and do things in life. And I think it's interesting that the tennis players that you were talking about, even within the stressful situation, which was good, they were playing a tennis match, they had to be under that adrenaline rush, that high engagement feeling. They took the time within that to rest, and that's what made them more successful.